Terrifying tales of love taking a horrifying turn are not for the faint-hearted, but they certainly give a chilling thrill to those who dare explore them. The stories we are about to share will not end in roses and rainbows, but rather fear and dread. Love, often illustrated as the warmest feeling of all, can sometimes be the chilling pathway to torment. Join us in this video as we narrate 5 such stories of love ending in spine-chilling horror. Number 1. Lovers lost in Labyrinth. In the heart of an ancient city stood an intricate labyrinth, its stone walls weathered by ages. This wasn't a place of joy and laughter, but a haunting abyss for those who, tangled in love's fury, dared to take on its perilous paths. Still, Jonathan and Lisa decided with youthful foolhardiness to navigate its winding trails on a chilly February night. Jonathan, a personable young Englishman in his early 20s, adored Lisa, a charming local beauty with a bewitching smile. The labyrinth, with its eerie reputation, seemed to them a perfect daring adventure to commemorate their love. Gripping his lover's hand tightly, Jonathan tugged Lisa into the labyrinth. Their heartbeats throbbed irregularly in the deafening silence as they ventured in deeper. The labyrinth seemed an eternal expanse. Shadows cast on its stony walls danced in a macabre ballet, their every echo amplified. The late afternoon sun shrank away, replaced by an all-encompassing icy darkness. Despite their earlier bravado, fear gnawed at them. Disoriented, they felt the labyrinth closing in. Every turn took them deeper into an absence of light. Desperate, they mustered courage, tried retracing their steps, only to lose sense of time and direction. A soft, sighing wind whispered eerie secrets, its ghostly voice chilling their bones. Suddenly, they stumbled upon an unusual scene. In a forsaken corner of the labyrinth lay a tomb, ornamented with scarlet roses, ravaged by time. The sight brought a cold dread, a horrid realization of their predicament. A spectral figure of a woman hovered over the tomb, her eyes hollow, blood trickling down her cheeks. Her mournful wails echoed through the labyrinth. She was the cursed undead guardian of the labyrinth, bound forever to its confines, seeking new souls to keep her company. She locked eyes with Jonathan and Lisa, the twisted smirk playing on her face, echoing what was to come. They were doomed, joining an endless collection of souls, ensnared by their curiosity. Each anniversary, a new couple added to the mournful collection. The blood-curdling screams filled the labyrinth as the guardian's icy fingers latched onto their young, pulsating hearts. The labyrinth claimed them, their life force diminishing, their corpses lost to time. Another pair of hapless lovers fell prey to the labyrinth. Their chilling adventure of love ended in sheer terror, swallowed by the eternal labyrinth, an everlasting monument of their doomed love. Today, when unsuspecting lovers visit the labyrinth for a thrill, one might still hear the echoed whispers of Jonathan and Lisa, their tragic tale adding to the eerie ambience. Their love story ends in horror, forever lost in the labyrinth. Their amorous advent turned into an eternal sleep in the depths of a labyrinth that took pleasure in a lover's despair. Number 2. Cupid's Cursed Arrow. Cupid is often depicted as a chubby child shooting arrows, spreading love wherever he goes. But in this horrifying tale, the well-known figure takes on a sinister persona with his latest weapon, a cursed arrow. In the quaint town of Amorous, Valentine's Day was a grand event. The townsfolk would go all out, spreading cheer and painting the town red with love. But the Valentine's Day of 1949 was unlike any other. Things were eerily quiet as people huddled together, terrified of what the day might bring. Legend had it that Cupid had cursed an arrow. Whoever was struck by it would fall in love so intensely it would drive them to madness, eventually leading to a brutal death. The thought of it spread a shiver down everyone's spine. Such a curse was unimaginable, especially in a town dedicated to love. Enter Eleanor and Samuel, high school sweethearts with a tale as old as time. Love had blossomed between them in the most usual of ways. A shared glance in the hallway, Shy smiles turned to heartfelt laughs, and before they knew it, it was love. Eleanor, the town's sweetheart with her sunny smile, and Samuel, the star of the local football team, made the perfect pair. They were the embodiment of young, reckless love. On that fateful Valentine's Day, Samuel gifted Eleanor a beautiful box with a delicate porcelain arrow. Naive and in love, they failed to recognize the curse that came with it. They laughed and kissed, oblivious to the shadow of doom cast over them. As days turned to weeks, Eleanor's love for Samuel seemed to cross the boundaries of sanity. She grew possessive, spending every waking hour thinking about Samuel. She was losing sleep, she stopped eating, and her sunny smile was replaced with a haunting, manic grin. She almost looked possessed. Samuel, terrified by this sudden transformation, decided to break things off. This, however, pushed Eleanor over the edge completely. She lured Samuel to the local park, the very place they shared their first kiss, under the guise of a peace talk. Heartbroken and desperate, Samuel agreed. As they met in the dim moonlight, the horrifying truth unfolded. Overwhelmed by her insane love, Eleanor violently attacked Samuel, stabbing him repeatedly with the porcelain arrow in a deranged frenzy, all while professing her undying love for him. Her cries echoed through the night, causing a chill down the spine of anyone who heard it. The next day, the town was abuzz with the ghastly incident. Eleanor was found alongside Samuel, laughing and crying incoherently, her clothes soaked in his blood. The police took her away, but she never stopped muttering Samuel's name. Even in a straitjacket, her crazy, unforgiving love for him was palpable. Samuel's brutal death and Eleanor's descent into madness serve as chilling reminders of the day Cupid's cursed arrow struck love in their town. The once joyous Valentine's Day was forever tainted with blood and madness, a horrific testament of love turning into terror. Number 3. Fatal Valentine. It was Valentine's Day in the small, quaint town of Chesterfield. A chill hung in the air, not just from the winter's grip, but also from an eeriness that seemed to engulf the town. Every resident prepared for Valentine's Day with wary apprehension, for they all knew about the town's macabre legend. The tale originates from the year 1898, from the ill-fated relationship between Lady Penelope and the charming blacksmith Thomas. They were madly in love, both evident through their stolen looks and secret letters. But fate was harsh. The ball held on Valentine's Day was the stage of their doom. Rumors whispered that the ghost of Lady Penelope lurks the town every year on Valentine's Day, seeking revenge for her fatal Valentine. On this particular Valentine's Day, a young couple, James and Maria, decided to challenge the horror tale. Carefree and in love, they shrugged off the town's warnings. They planned to spend the night at Lady Penelope's house, now abandoned and shrouded in an ominous aura. As the sun set, the couple reached the skeletal remains of the mansion. A cold dread enveloped them, like icy fingers tracing their spines. But they were determined to prove there were no such things as vengeful spirits and fatal valentines. The couple explored the mansion, laughter echoing through the hollow, abandoned mansion. As midnight approached, Maria found an old, tattered diary in what assumed as Lady Penelope's chamber. It bore an intricate heart symbol on the cover, hinting at the heart-wrenching tales it held. The couple decided to read the entries, a sort of tribute to the tragic love story of Lady Penelope and Thomas. It was Maria who read aloud the entries, her voice echoing through the eerie silence. But as she read the final entry, a declaration of undying love from Penelope, an unnatural chill swept through the room, extinguishing the candlelight. Then, a terrifying sight unfolded before them, the phantom shape of a woman, terror etched in her spectral face. Lady Penelope's spirit had been awakened. The apparition pointed towards James and whispered, "He is mine." A spectral blade materialized in her hand, borrowed from some ghastly dimension. With frightful speed, Lady Penelope plunged the ethereal blade into James's heart. Maria screamed as James gasped his last breath, dying on the very floor the star-crossed lovers had danced before. Maria, paralyzed with fear, fled for her life from the tormented spirit, leaving behind her beloved James. The once non-believers were the victims of their disbelief. The tale of the fatal Valentine was no longer just a town legend, unseen, unheard, but forever remembered, a chilling reminder of the power of love and the dread of a fatal Valentine. Number 4, Amorous Aberration. Amorous Aberration speaks of a love that danced on the thin line of beauty and horror. It all began with a woman named Lisa, who was hopelessly in love with a man named Tom. Well, who wouldn't fall for Tom? He was the perfect gentleman, the kind of man every woman dreams of. He was charming, caring, the kind of person who would put others before himself. Lisa considered herself lucky to have her path cross with his. But little did she know, she was about to enter into a terrifying labyrinth of love and obsession. Lisa was an average woman. She lived alone in her apartment, had a typical 9-to-5 job, and perhaps the only irregular thing about her life was Tom, an irregularity she embraced with open arms. However, Lisa began to slowly let her guard down, allowing Tom a terrifying level of control over her life. One ordinary evening, Lisa came home to her apartment to find Tom waiting for her. An impromptu surprise, she thought, and welcomed him with a smile. As the night fell, Tom's behavior progressively became strange, inching towards sinister. He started discussing Lisa's daily routine, her schedule, her friends in eerily accurate details. He knew things that Lisa herself struggled to remember. The man she'd once thought to be her Prince Charming was morphing into an obsessive beast right before her eyes. Lisa couldn't bear the weight of her own fear and attempted to confront Tom. Bad decision. Tom reacted with sheer rage, leaving Lisa in a pool of her own blood. Hours later, Lisa painfully opened her eyes, staring at a grotesque sight. There was blood everywhere, splattered on the walls, oozing from her wound. She lay petrified on the blood-soaked carpet as Tom sat across the room, staring at her with an unnerving smile. He casually picked up a blood-stained knife from the floor, his eyes gleaming from maniacal delight. All the while, Tom confessed his love for Lisa in bone-chilling detail that made the situation even more surreal. His obsession was the very love Lisa fell for, now morphed into a nightmare she found herself trapped in. The last thing Lisa saw before she passed out again was Tom, knife in hand, whispering, "I'd die to keep you safe, Lisa, even if it means having to kill you." His obsession was not love. It was an aberration that wore the mask of love. Her supposed sanctuary had turned into a house of horrors, with her lover turned executioner mocking the sacredness of love in the most grotesque manner. As tragic as it was, Lisa never imagined love would push her onto a terrifying path filled with blood, obsession, and a lover-turned-monster. This was her chilling encounter with an amorous aberration. Number 5, Macabre Masquerade. A chill veiled the evening in the quiet little town of Sea Haven. It was Valentine's Day, and the townsfolk anticipated an evening of love, dance, and affection at the annual costume party, commonly dubbed the Masquerade. Unknown to them, though, the festive aura was about to metamorphose into a horrifying spectacle, one that would forever taint Sea Haven's Valentine's tradition. Among the locals was a certain beau named Charles, known for his charm and handsome features. With his countenance masked by a beautiful Venetian disguise, he exuded an irresistible appeal. Dressed in stunning costumes, women of all ages yearned for his attention, and their eyes followed him in utter admiration. But Charles had eyes for only one, a fair maiden, Catherine. Cloaked in a splendid gown and a feathered mask that accentuated her ethereal beauty, Catherine was a vision. The longing in Charles's look was more than apparent as he watched Catherine move with a grace that transcended the norms of human capabilities. As the night went on, tensions began to rise when Charles, unable to resist his feelings, grabbed Catherine for a dance. The mystique of their dance was so captivating, it left the spectators in awe. But as the dance concluded, An eerie hush blanketed the audience. Catherine had been standing rigid with a horrified expression. Suddenly, falling to the ground, she screamed and writhed in agony. The beautiful gown now stained a horrifying red as blood oozed from a gaping wound. The crowd narrowed their eyes on Charles, who stood in stunned silence, a bloody dagger clutched in his trembling hand, mirroring the horror reflected in Catherine's dying eyes. Panic ensued. The once joyful, loving atmosphere was now a nightmarish scene straight from a horror movie. Men were attempting to restrain Charles, while women screamed in fear and shock, and children cried. Whispers spread like wildfire, a cold-blooded murder on Valentine's Day. As Catherine took her final breath, a chilling voice echoed through the hall. "He who loves shall pay the price." Then, as suddenly as the voice had appeared, the hall darkened. Shadows danced across the walls, interspersed with flashes of red. When light returned, bodies lay strewn across the floor, and the once elegant masquerade was tainted with a grisly carnage. Then the final blow. Charles's pleading for innocence was cut short when he saw Catherine, but she was no longer Catherine. Her lifeless, pale face was transformed to reflect abysmal terror, her eyes soulless, her mouth open in a silent scream. She was nothing more than a ghoul, a horrendous statue meant to agitate fear into the surviving midst, a haunting reminder of their fatal Valentine. And thus, Sea Haven's Valentine tradition turned into a macabre masquerade, forever drenched in a terrifying display of blood, death, and a love lost amidst the horrifying labyrinth that ensued. Well, there you have it, folks. 5 chilling tales of love turned nightmarish. If you found these stories as delightfully unnerving as we did, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling content. Sweet dreams might seem a bit far-fetched after tonight's stories, so we hope you enjoy some deliciously frightful nightmares instead. Until the next video, thank you all for watching, and remember, even in the most horrifying tales, love still finds its hauntingly beautiful way.